Sutta from the great chapter, Saṁyutta Nikāya 12:61, on causation. This whole section of Saṁyutta Nikāya refers to the dependent arising, codependent arising, or dependent origination teachings of the Buddha. And it's a rich, rich selection of teachings. The great aspect of the Saṁyutta Nikāya, friends, is that it takes a topic and gives all the teachings, shorter teachings of the Lord Buddha that relate to that topic. And so you can really get into an in-depth exploration of a particular topic, such as codependent arising. And you can have teachings from all angles and all degrees of depth. There are many similes, many ways of explaining aspects of the 12 links of codependent arising in more detail. And it just gives a very full picture. Ananda once said to the Buddha, this teaching on codependent arising is so simple, so clear, it clarifies everything. And the Buddha said, say not so, this is a profound teaching, not easy to understand, to fully grasp. And so we can see, actually, there are both aspects for us often. When we look at a teaching, there can be a superficial reading, which is very valuable to sort of just take in initially a teaching and to let it be whatever it is. That's first initial investigation. And then the deeper processing can begin, and we can start to recognize, actually, if we come back to the same sutta again and again, for instance, day after day, week after week, we start to recognize that, oh, yes, there are depths, there are layers, there is so much investigation that can be done here in relation to any teaching of the Lord Buddha. There is both an initial simplicity and clarity that we can really appreciate as a gift. And then there is the profundity, the depth, the wisdom that just keeps feeding us. The ability with these teachings to come back to them again and again and to keep receiving more. I'd like to read you this particular sutta, Saṁyutta 12:61. It's titled Unlearned, and I'm going to read Bhante Sujato's translation. Some of the words you may find you prefer different words, but you'll understand what he's referring to, I hope. When he uses, for instance, the word choices for sankhara, you can also consider this means mental formations. Let's remember, we have many good translations nowadays. We have many venerable translators who offer different renditions of the teachings. So it's really helpful to look up these teachings and to see the different renditions, because it gives us more of a sense of the fullness of the meaning in the Pali language. Honestly, I think it's good if we can all learn Pali, because there is a profundity and depth to this language. When it comes to the Buddha's teachings, they're really best received in this language that he may have spoken very similar dialects to Pali, and these texts have been preserved in Pali language. So, it's very helpful to look at Pali, consider learning Pali, and it doesn't have to be a major project. It can be a case of looking at the texts, say in Sutta Central. You can see the English and Pali texts line by line together. You can then look at the occasional word in Pali and get to know the meanings gradually. Important phrases that really stand out for you and are meaningful for you. I recommend looking at the Pali and starting to learn the language in this very inspirational way. It's not a hard slog at all then. It's actually very refreshing for the practice to begin to learn what is the meaning of, say, the word Dhamma. So much depth, so many facets to the meaning of this word. Dhamma, nature, truth, the Buddha's teachings, the way it is, reality, and so forth. Anyway, I keep digressing, so now I will actually read the sutta. I recommend, with the actual reading of this sutta, that we sit silently, we close the eyes, we don't have anything else happening right now, and fully listen with the whole body to this teaching of the Lord Buddha. So I'd like to begin with Namo Tassa at this point. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namassami. So, this sutta, unlearned. Thus have I heard. At one time, the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. And he taught the mendicants thus. Mendicants, when it comes to this body, made up of the 4 primary elements, earth, air, water, and fire, an unlearned, ordinary person might become disillusioned, dispassionate, and freed. Why? Well, this body, made up of the 4 primary elements, is seen to accumulate and disperse, to be taken up and laid to rest. That's why, when it comes to this body, an unlearned, ordinary person might become disillusioned, dispassionate, and freed. But when it comes to that which is called mind, or sentience, or consciousness, an unlearned, ordinary person is unable to become disillusioned, or dispassionate, or freed. Why is that? Because for a long time, they've been attached to it. They've thought of it as their own, and they've mistaken it. This is mine, I'm this is myself. That's why, when it comes to this mind, an unlearned, ordinary person is unable to become disillusioned, dispassionate, and freed. But the Buddha goes on. But an unlearned, ordinary person would be better off taking this body, made up of the 4 primary elements, to be their self, rather than the mind. Why is that? This body, made up of the 4 primary elements, is seen to last for a year, 2 years, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, or even up to 100 years, or even a little bit more. But that which is called mind, or sentience, or consciousness, it arises as one thing, and it ceases as another, all day long, and all night. It's like a monkey moving through the forest. It grabs hold of one branch, lets it go, grabs another, lets that go, and grabs yet another. In the same way, that which is called mind or sentience or consciousness arises as one thing and ceases as another, all day and all night long. In this case, a learned noble disciple carefully and rationally applies the mind to dependent origination itself. When this exists, that is. Due to the arising of this, that arises. When this doesn't exist, that is no longer present. Due to the cessation of this, that ceases. Ignorance is a condition for choices. Ignorance is a condition for choices. Choices or mental formations are a condition for consciousness. Consciousness is a condition for name and form, body and mind. Body and mind is the condition for the 6 sense doors. The 6 sense doors are a condition for contact. Contact is a condition for feeling. Feeling is a condition for desire, tanha, craving. Craving is a condition for grasping. Grasping is a condition for becoming. And becoming is a condition for birth, old age, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. Ewan. So friends, this sutta is very, in a way, simple. As Ananda said to the Buddha about dependent origination, you can say this is quite simple in a way. The Buddha is telling us you're much better off getting attached to the body than being attached to the mind. Why? Because the body is easy to let go of. This mind is very tricky. It's very willful. It's like the monkey in the jungle, jumping around from branch to branch. It has the quality of constant changeability. Even for a moment, it doesn't stay the same. It's all over the place. We're really deluding ourselves if we attach to the mind. But what's very interesting and what the Buddha is pointing to here is that actually we do tend to attach more to the mind. Because even an ordinary person can see that the body is subject to aging, sickness, and death. We're quite young, aren't we, when we start to recognize this? We'll lose a relative at a young age, and it really dawns on us. Oh my goodness, death exists. Oh my goodness, this person has died, everyone else is going to die. Oh, I'm going to die. It's a shocking revelation for some kids. Some kids will remember that. Some kids will be deeply affected. We all take it on board at some point, usually quite early in life. The Buddha was quite old, as we're told, allegedly, when he started to recognize old age, sickness, and death, these heavenly messengers for him and for us. The Devadutta, these aspects of our predicament that at some point impinge upon us, they hit us, and we wake up to our mortality. The Buddha was said to be 28 years old when this happened to him, because he had lived a very protected life. His father didn't want him to open to the spiritual aspect of life, the most important aspect of life. His father didn't want him to wake up spiritually because he had heard a prophecy, we're told, at the birth of the Buddha, that this child was either going to become a great spiritual master for the many, or he was going to become a great leader, worldly leader. And King Suddhodana didn't want his son to become anything other than his heir, to become the leader after him, the next leader, his eldest child. So he protected him, he sheltered him, he had a very easeful life, we're told, and it was only much later in life that he was assailed with the reality of our predicament, our human mortality. So it's very interesting, actually, if we were to shelter someone now and treat them with great delicacy and kindness and care, and they didn't have to face any kind of suffering at all that we could prevent, how would it be for them when it finally dawns upon us that we're subject to old age, sickness and death? And maybe the later this happens, perhaps the more impact it would have. The Buddha was very ready to receive the full impact of our predicament, of our mortality, because he was so developed spiritually already. His spirituality was lying dormant, and this reality of the body, the trajectory of this body towards from birth to the grave or to the crematorium, was what actually woke him up in his final lifetime when he became the Buddha. So it's these heavenly messengers that really impact us. Well, the Buddha in this sutta is saying quite simply that anyone can see after a certain age, you're going to know about old age, sickness and death. So anyone can consider this body as, well, yes, but it's not really something I can hold on to. It's not really mine. It has this journey that it takes. I'm sort of in there for the ride, in a sense. It feels like I'm somehow sort of connected with this thing, but I have no control over it. I can't make it eternally young. We try, don't we? People try to work on the body to make it youthful, perpetually youthful, but in the end it's a crash, one way or the other. It can be a very painful crash for those who are attached to youth. And actually we could say, looking around us, maybe our whole culture is attached to youth, the cult of youth, and we're all encouraged to smooth away the wrinkles, get some Botox on the lines, put makeup over, and so forth. It's really good that people want to keep fit and keep the body youthful in that way, but to actually attempt to appear youthful as we grow older, it's kind of sad, isn't it? It's rather pathetic, really, and a source of great suffering for people. So look, we are all aware, we all wake up to this aging, dying process, the decay that starts to set in some ways from about the age of 18, in other ways from about the age of 30, and in some ways a bit later on in life. Various aspects of our physicality, our experience of this body will recognizably start to deteriorate at different stages in life. And so even an ordinary person, you don't have to be particularly mindful, you don't have to be particularly interested in developing wisdom in this lifetime to notice that this body is something that one will have to shed. We can have all sorts of ideas about what happens then, but it's clear there's a finite span here. We can, as spiritual practitioners, quite easily contemplate this body as not me, not mine. This is not myself, and find the value in that, and actually find the great comfort in that, because we're turning our desire and attention away from that which is going to let us down, and we're refining our desire for that which is more resourced, such as the triple gem. I can put my desire, turn it from tanha, from craving, into chanda, a wholesome wish to identify with that which is worth identifying with, to identify with the present moment, to identify with body awareness, to identify with Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Awareness, knowing the truth, collectively supporting others in this practice. So, we can turn our desire away from the body quite easily. It's not difficult. It's a no-brainer, as they say, for us to do this. And it's very compelling for us to do this. And then the Buddha speaks about the mind. Okay, so the mind, which is so fleeting, so out of our control, jumping around from one branch to another, moment after moment, incredibly changeable, impermanent, not self. But this This we struggle to let go of. It's so interesting. This is so much more deeply embedded in our minds as me, my thoughts, my opinions, my sense of right and wrong, my understanding of the spiritual path. And these are the more, you could say, refined aspects of the mind. There's all the rest of it, right? All the obsessing and cogitating about this, that, and the other. The wish to take in more and more mental contents through entertainment, music, art, movies, and so forth. What are we doing when we look at a work of art, or when we listen to music or watch a movie? What are we actually doing? We're actually receiving the mental contents of others. So we have our own bubbling, boiling pot of mental contents. And then we're adding more into the stew from outside. Read the news, a whole lot more comes in. And I'm not really meaning to disparage this. It's simply something to observe, that we have an insatiable hunger for more mental contents, more life of the mind. The monkey is voracious. More forest, more branches, more activity. And all of it has that quality of selfing. This is my life, my world. And actually this is so relevant for us. Nowadays we're even more invested in our mental world. And we've en masse collectively dissociated from the body, because we recognize, ordinary people can recognize, this is not a refuge for us. So we've been taking refuge in the mind. And we have all this technology, and we have all these ways, right, like right now, of connecting through the technology, mind meeting mind, friends. It's more and more and more happening for us. As the world, the material world, the four elements are discarded, kind of neglected. We're so busy living in our mental realms, living within our creations, that we've forgotten the ground that we stand upon. And the tragedy of it is that the ground that we stand upon is a living organism. We're part of it, but we're a very tiny part. And the vastness and the greatness of this planet, this earth, this Gaia, this world that we're part of is, through our neglect, it's going to be working now against us. It's as if we've been in paradise and now we're going to be cast out. And it's very tragic, because it didn't have to be that way. But at the same time, it's not exactly our fault. It's our ignorance that has created this disconnect with nature. So this teaching is ever more relevant for us. This mind, we're so enticed by it. We're so in love with it. We want to live in the mind and never mind the body. It's painful, it's clunky, it's messy. Let's just keep it as comfortable as we possibly can. Move it around as much as we need to. And live in the mind. So these bodies, in creating great comfort for them, great ease for them, we are trashing our environment, because we've forgotten the profound connection and respect, mutual respect here. So this is all very sobering, and it's something to really consider, because we need to realign and reconnect and recognize that, if anything, we should be identifying more with this body than with this mind. Why? Because the mind is so ephemeral, fleeting, out of our control. We want to be able to let it go, to move away from the identification with all of this activity, to let it settle, to let it relax, to let go of it all. So to come into the body is so much the encouragement in our meditation practice, right? We want to focus on this body. We want to come home to this body. And when we do this, we're starting to wake up to nature again. And so to recognize that this is a place of Dhamma for us. This is really important for us, to come home to the body and to investigate. And so to begin to realign and to rebalance, to let the mind go, is to allow the mind to relax, to allow the mind to find its peace and its depth and its own profundity. This is the amazing ability that we have to direct the mind to liberate itself. And because of the way in which we identify so much more fully with the mind, let's recognize that we're on safe ground when we come home to the body. It's easier to let go of the identification with the body, so we can use the body as our anchor. It's our doorway to nature, to Dhamma. It's our grounding. It's our reconnecting with Mother Nature, with the earth that we're part of. So all of this is embedded in this sutta, this reminder to recognize, yes, that none of this experience is me and mine, but how much safer, how much wiser to work with the body, let go of the body, come home to the body, let go of the body, come home to the body, and slowly extricate our identification with the mind. Let the mind come to a place of rest. This is meditation, and how valuable it is. How valuable it is for the individual, how valuable it is for the collective.